Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. The time is now 6:15, and the Belton Independent School District Board of Trustees are now convened in a regular board meeting on Monday, July 17, 2023, in the Pittenger Fine Arts Center located at 400 North Wall Street, Belton, Texas. A quorum of board members is present. Please note for the record that Ms. Janet Lee and Ms. Erin Bass were not able to attend this evening. This meeting has been duly called and notice of the meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. I want to welcome the members of our audience and our live stream viewers to this meeting. As the Belton ISD Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals, listen to reports from the superintendent, approve budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and make policy for the district. It is not the role of the board to make day-to-day operational decisions. The management and day-to-day operations of the district are the responsibility of the superintendent. We have policies and procedures in place to resolve concerns and issues. This meeting of the Board of Trustees is held in public. It is not a public meeting. Prior to this meeting, board members received information relating to items on tonight's agenda. Agenda items may not necessarily be handled in the order listed on the notice. This meeting is open to all who wish to attend and hear the matters discussed. These proceedings are being live streamed on BISD's YouTube channel, and a recording of the meeting will be available on the district's website in the days following tonight's meeting. For the video to adequately reflect the proceedings, I respectfully ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking and that cell phones are turned off or in the silent mode. Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening and for your interest in Belton ISD. Please rise for a moment of silent prayer or meditation. Please remain standing as our communications team introduces students from Lakewood Elementary School to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and honors to the Texas flag.
May I have Nora Thomas and Lily DeBye come up here, please? These girls are going into first grade.
All right.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Great job, ladies. Let me tell you just a little bit about these sweet girls. Nora Thomas, they say circle time is her favorite because she gets to do fun things. And she loves science because she likes to learn about the sea. When she's not in school, she likes to work in the wood shop with her dad and play with her dogs, play with swords, and draw with her sister. Her friends would say that she's an artist. Excuse me. Good with fixing things, and she is kind. And Lily's favorite subject in school is reading books because she learns from them. Her favorite book is Butterflies Are Gross. Lily loves spending time with her family and playing with her basset hound. She enjoys gymnastics, swimming, and catching insects. Her friends say she's smart, brave, and pretty. Thank you, girls, so much. You did great.
Ms. Bailey, are they the youngest pledge givers we've had?
Since I've been here, yes.
That's awesome. Give them another round of applause. Those are first graders right there.
The first item on the agenda is recognitions. We ask that everyone remain in the auditorium until the conclusion of recognitions.
Thank you. This evening, our first recognition is going to be Maverick Shepard, who's a student at Belton New Tech at Wascow. They earned an Outstanding Performer Award at the Texas State Solo and Ensemble Contest. And mind you, their performance, they had to memorize that. That is not easy to do and perform it in front of others. And only students who receive a Division I rating at UIL regional, solo, or small ensemble are eligible to participate in this. So congratulations, Maverick. We're super proud of you. Congratulations. Our next recognition, I don't believe is here tonight, but it is Kevin Thomas, who's a 2023 graduate of Belton New Tech High School, or Belton New Tech at Wascow. He earned a National Merit Scholarship for the University of Texas at Dallas. And now I'd like to welcome up here Alicia Jala with Project Apple Tree. Did I get my papers out of order? Okay, sorry, my bad. So we're moving on to the department showcase. We have grounds. The grounds department consists of 15 employees who are proud to serve our 26 facilities. They serve 15 million square feet of ground, including our athletic fields. They include an irrigation specialist, and the department is led by Patrick Crosby. Congratulations, grounds. And now we have our custodial department. We have 131 custodians that work for Belton ISD. They clean 63 buildings, and that means over 2 million square feet daily. They are led by their custodial director, Maria Garcia, and custodial supervisor, Francisca Guzman. We're so proud of you guys. Thank you for all of your hard work that you've done over the summer. You're all an incredible team. And now we have integrated pest management with Mr. Kenneth Wilson, who is just a pleasure to work with. He monitors and performs pest control for over 2 million square feet of buildings and 15 million square feet of grounds. He's tasked with controlling everything from insects to rodents, and he does it all with a smile. And now our community partner showcase is Miss Alicia Jala with Project Apple Tree. As you know, Project Apple Tree supports hundreds of families in Belton ISD by providing them with the tools and the relationships they need to help their children thrive on the first day of school. They're a fantastic partner for Belton ISD, and we're really proud that they're here tonight. Thank you. And now we're going to announce our new administrators. First up is the Executive Director of Campus Leadership for Secondary Campuses, Mr. Ben Smith. He's served BISD as the principal of Belton High School since 2019. He's also been a principal in AP at New Tech and an assistant principal at Lake Belton Middle School. Ben earned his bachelor's degree from Southwest Texas State University and his master's degree from Texas A&M University at Central Texas. Congratulations on your new post, Ben. Next up, we have the Executive Director of Campus Leadership for our elementary campuses, Ms. Denise Sharp. She's joining us from Round Rock ISD, where she served as a principal and an executive principal coach. She earned her bachelor's degree in elementary education from Ohio State University and her master's degree from Shippensburg University. Congratulations, Denise. Next up, I'm proud to announce Claudia Knox is the new principal at Belton High School. She's stepping into the role after 11 years serving on that campus. She has 27 years in education. She earned her bachelor's degree from the University of North Texas and a master's degree from University of Mary Hardin-Baylor. Congratulations, Claudia. Mr. James Larimore is joining us as the principal of South Belton Middle School. He has 16 years of experience in education, including service as a principal and associate principal and assistant principal teacher and a department chair. He earned his degree from Texas State University and a master's degree from Texas A&M Commerce. Next up, we have Tracy Reiger. She's joining the Big Red community as the Director of Academics. Joining us as the Director of Curriculum and Instructional Design after previously serving as the Director of Academics and holding leadership positions in the Curriculum Department in another district. She earned her bachelor's degree from Texas A&M University, whoop, and a master's degree from Lamar University. Welcome, Tracy. And then next up, I'm very proud to announce Mr. Frederick Lilly has accepted the position of North Belton Middle School principal. He previously served as a principal in Camden, Arkansas, and also as an assistant principal, coach, and teacher. He earned his bachelor's degree from the University of Arkansas, Monticello, and his master's degree from Mississippi College, and he's working towards his doctorate through Liberty University. Congratulations. Oh, yeah. Girls, would you come up here and take a picture with the board? Y'all did so good. Y'all just come right up here. Thank you, and that concludes our recognitions for this evening. Thank you.
We will now take a short break to allow guests to clear the auditorium. Based on policy BED local, we will take public comments regarding items on the agenda at the beginning of the meeting, and comments regarding non-agenda items will be heard at the end of the meeting to allow the board to conduct the business of the district. No public comments? All right. We now move to item 4, Goal 1, strengthen and support the engagement of all stakeholders in pursuit of the BISD vision. McDonald, I guess you will initiate the
Yes.
discussion for us?
Absolutely. So I wrote down a couple of notes, and so just let's start at the beginning. What is goal one? Strengthen and support the engagement of all stakeholders in pursuit of the BISD vision. So then that leads, what's the vision? The vision, empowering each and every learner to pursue their dreams and enrich their communities. What does that look like, and how do we do that? We do that by engaging all the voices, our community, our student, our staff, and our parents. And there's several different vehicles. We've used several different vehicles to do that. We've used committees, we use social media, we have used thought exchange, just our sporting events. All of these things lead to that engagement that I just talked about. And we absolutely would not be able to sustain what we're doing without the community engagement, for sure, because being able to have the community and all those other voices engage allows us to recognize and achieve the visions that we have as far as the components of our journey of a graduate, those being perseverance, adaptability, collaboration, communication, critical thinking, and empathy. So all of that ties back to one critical piece. We all have to be student-centered and thinking along the same lines in order for this school district and this community to thrive.
Thank you, Ms. McDonald. Well stated. Trustees, anyone else want to add to that? Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. All right, moving now to item number 5, reports. Dr. Smith?
Trustees, I'm excited to welcome one of our amazing partners, and that is the Belton Educational Enrichment Foundation annual report. You know Ms. Ellen Burnett here in front of you. Beef does amazing work for our students, our staff, and our community. Ellen, thanks for being here tonight.
Thank y'all for having me. My name is Ellen Burnett. I am the president of the Belton Educational Enrichment Foundation. I think this is probably my 3rd year coming and talking to y'all. And I just wanted to give you a report on what we've done. And this year is something new. We're going to talk a little bit about the numbers since we started back in the 90s. Sorry. Do you want me to click? Okay. I didn't know. So Beef was founded in 1992 by a group of like-minded community members in order to support the school district. Our mission, I want to make sure I don't get it wrong, but our mission is to support Belton ISD student achievement and success by partnering with the community, and we do that in a lot of different ways. All of our funding comes from private sources. We give out scholarships and grants. The scholarships we give out range from students to paraprofessionals, to those that are wishing employees to continue their education. We have 32 board members, and we have over $1.5 million in assets that we have managed, and we are self-funding. Not fully self-funding yet, but we do utilize some of that to give out our scholarships and grants. You might recognize some of these names up here. We have people all over the community. We have business owners, we have stay-at-home moms, we have teachers, we have former teachers, we have district employees. We have a lot of people on our board that contribute to bring in the money that we use to support Belton ISD. We do this through fundraising. We have 3 events throughout the year. We have a tennis tournament, a golf tournament, and a red carpet event, which is our gala, for lack of a better word. It changes every year. The theme this year is going to be, oh gosh, I should know that. Oh, the future's bright, which I have a save the date for you guys. We also have community support. We have an employee campaign where teachers and staff members can donate directly to Beef out of their paycheck. We have general donations, and that just comes from anybody in the community that wants to support Beef. And then we also have targeted donations. And right now we do named scholarships. So if you wanted to honor a loved one that was a former educator or somebody who's passed on, we do that, and we have a lot of those. We have over 100 of them. Our grants come from the Carpenter Foundation. We got a Walmart grant this year, and then one of the ones I wanted to highlight this year is Perry Office Plus. They give back to us quarterly. We use them for our office supplies, and they actually donate a percentage of what we spend back to the foundation. So I think that's a really neat program, and they're a local company. This year, every campus was awarded a grant. So that's something that we have never had happen in the past. Year to date, we've given out over 400 teacher grants totaling over $700,000, and we focus on innovative classroom learning. So we had everything from puppets in libraries to robotics. We go the whole spectrum, K through 12, and even in the specials. So we love giving out grants. It's our favorite day of the year, and it usually happens in December. This picture here, I think, is from Miller Heights, PE class. So we had paraprofessional scholarships. We gave out $20,000 this year to 15 paraprofessionals. And then our dual credit program, this is something that started a few years ago, and we've given out $60,000 to date, and we affect approximately 60 students annually with that. So we're able to help them pay for their books and take dual credit classes, those students that wouldn't normally be able to do that. Our scholarships, this is kind of our shining star. Since 1992, we've given out over $2.5 million in scholarships to 2,500 seniors. We have over 100 plus named scholarships, and it's growing. I know we've got 3 or 4 developing right now, and we have people calling all the time wanting to do that. So it's really great to see our community step up and help those kids as they go on to further their education. This year, we gave out $340,500 with 178 total scholarships. You can see the breakdown there for the 3 high schools. This was Lake Belton's first year to have seniors, so that was a fun new challenge. And we were really excited to see the breakdown, and it was pretty equitable across the district as far as the population of students. So that was also neat to see as well, that our community supports all BISD. Like I said, we have our red carpet coming up. The future is bright. We have a lot of new things happening with Beef this year, and I think you guys are going to be excited to follow along. If you want to join us, or you know anybody who would like to sponsor this event, it's going to be Saturday, October 14th, and it'll be at Bold Republic Brewing Company in West Temple. So, still in BISD. Any questions? That's all I have for y'all.
Questions, anyone? Go ahead, Chris.
Maybe not a question, but comment. I just want to thank you and the entire Beef Board for what you all do. You know, there's a lot of great magic that happens in the district, and I consider this to be like an extra bit of fairy dust, right, that goes all the way around, right? Whether that's, you know, the campus grants or the paraprofessionals, you know, the scholarships that go on. I mean, there's so much stuff that you all do that really helps to spread that magic around. And so thank you so much for everything that you do. Maybe I do have a question, right? So is there anything that we can do that you would like to ask us to do to help in any way, shape, or form?
Come to our event.
Yeah.
Spend a lot of money.
There, already there. Done. Yeah.
No, you guys are awesome in supporting Beef, so we're happy to partner with Belton ISD.
Awesome. Rucker, Ms. McDonald, anyone? Well, Rucker, I saw your name up there. You were a former Beef board member.
Yeah, I will say that
Y'all stole him.
I will say the work that Ellen does in leadership is outstanding, and just to be a part, to go to the campuses when teachers are awarded, and getting to see the surprise and the smile on the students' faces to support their teachers and campuses is just what it's all about. Seeing kids and parents excited about education is something I didn't see as a kid, and so to see it here in Belton is nothing short than amazing.
Thank you. Thank y'all for all you do and for having
And
me.
I also want to thank you for everything you do. I was on Beef for a few years, and I know I was never in the capacity as president, but I know how much work that you do. I mean, I know you have a lot of folks assisting you, but what you do is, and it's a year-round effort. It's not just when you have your fundraisers, it's year-round. I do have a question. I know that anyone can make a contribution. If you want to contribute $100, it goes into the general fund. But if you want to donate for a scholarship for a particular individual, is it a minimum of 1,000 still? Or is that
Yes,
changed?
so to start a scholarship, the minimum donation is 1,000. We actually recommend people do 1,500 to 2,000, but we do have scholarships in the 1,000 range. Just as the cost of living goes up, we're trying to increase that, but our minimum is 1,000. And you can contact our office. They are located at the admin building right next door, or you can go on our website, which is beefbisd.org.
Now, you mentioned Walmart. What did Walmart do?
Walmart gives out community grants. So I believe we got a grant for, I want to say it was 2,000. So we have a board member, her name is Alan Testrote, and she is amazing. I don't think she sleeps, but she applies for every grant that's available. So really, the big grant that we have is the Carpenter Foundation, and I forgot to mention this, but we use that grant to fund all of our operations. So none of the money that comes from the private sources or community members goes to pay for our office staff or anything like that. That all comes out of that Carpenter grant, all of our software and everything.
And for those folks watching, they need to understand that they can donate enough money to create a legacy scholarship.
Yes, so a
Something that could
legacy
be-
scholarship, it's a minimum of a $25,000 donation. And that means that we invest your funds for you, and then we use the rule of 4.4 that we've been advised to. So basically, your money will never run out. We only give from the money that's made from the investment. Is the
Again,
hope.
thank you very much for what you do for our district and
Absolutely.
these kids.
Thank y'all for having me.
Dr. Smith?
Next on the agenda, item B, we have our key progress measures report. You all know Dr. Golden, and she's going to walk us through this. This is how we measure our progress every year. The board adopts these key progress measures. These are also ones that are included in the superintendent evaluation and should signify key work toward the goals that you adopt as a board of trustees. And so Dr. Golden's going to give you an overview of the last year and how we progressed.
And actually, I'm going to be joined by some of our cabinet team members as well. And so I'm going to get us kicked off. So thank you very much for allowing us to be here this evening and give you a report on our key progress measures. As you know, as a board, you approved 5 goals. Those 5 goals are very unique to Belton ISD and represent the hopes and dreams of our community. That was affirmed through our strategic planning process. And so we know with your support, we have aspirational goals that have guided us in engaging our community, and the last presentation is a great example of that. We want exceptional learning experiences for each and every student in our system, which we know in Belton is academic knowledge and skills, but it's also our journey of graduate competencies, that we grow those in our students, that we attract, retain, and support a world-class team of employees, that we create a culture in which our students and staff feel valued, supported, challenged to grow, and that we also maximize our use of resources for current and future priorities. So we're very proud of those goals. They are aspirational goals, and you also as a board adopted the key progress measures, a key progress measure for these different goals, which doesn't represent all of the work that we do within each goal, but it represents that highest leverage work that we wanted to come to you, and we've provided you with updates throughout the year. And so this evening, different cabinet members will share where we are with that key progress measure aligned to the goal from the 22-23 school year. And first up is Jen Bailey.
Thank you, Board. As I shared with you last month, through a lot of hard work at the district level and at the campus level, we successfully engaged our parents in partnership activities over the last year. And as I shared with you last month, we did meet our key progress measure for this year. So thank you.
Good evening. I am here to report out to you our progress with Goal 2, key progress measure to ensure exceptional learning experiences for each and every student. We had 2 key progress measures associated with increasing instructional planning time and collaboration for teachers in target and content areas, and I can share with you that that was completed. As a result of that time together in instructional design days, where teachers had the opportunity to unpack our learning standards that Melinda referenced just a bit ago, we also were able to propel into some work around developing some math guiding documents to help us guide instruction specific to math, a target area for us, as well as curriculum redesign this summer. We're in a very exciting place with some energy around some redesign work that has happened with our curriculum documents. We've heard throughout the last couple of years about the strong need for strengthening of our resources that are available to teachers, allowing them to engage in intentional planning. planning and have some great energy around that this summer that we'll build upon in the coming school year. Dr. Golden just talked about the knowledge and skills that are a foundation for our learning. We've been able to move in some Journey of a Graduate competency rubrics into our curriculum documents. That's some key work that we're doing. The competencies are embedded already, and we'll be rolling out rubrics this year to help teachers in measurement of progress towards acquisition of those Journey of Graduate competencies. In addition, with Goal 2, we have House Bill 3 measures that we are required to report out on. These are associated with measuring student growth as measured by STAR. We have 3 different areas that we have House Bill 3 targets in. One in early literacy, measuring growth with 3rd grade reading scores, with 3rd grade math scores as measured by STAR, and then our CCMR measures. On this key progress measure, I will have to share with you that it is in progress. The majority of our data that would help us understand whether we've met this target has not been released yet and will not be until later in August and September. So that key progress measure is in progress. Thank you.
Good evening. On Goal 3, which is about attracting, retaining, and supporting a world-class team of employees, we had a key progress measure of 80% of our staff will create and pursue professional learning goals by June 2023. And I'm happy to report that we completed that. We actually had over 90% that created and pursued professional learning goals throughout the course of this year. I'll also point out a couple of other highlights. With our employee referral program, we had over 60 individuals that we've paid out for that, which was an activity within our DIP. Individuals received $500 for an incentive payment for referring an individual that was hired into our system. And then our benefits website was revamped as well in regards to information that we heard back from our staff engagement survey and input from HRTU sessions that we had regarding benefits. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to represent Goal 4 work. So I have to thank Cassandra Spearman, Holly Moore, and Tiffany Summerfield. They were the ones that brought together a cross-functional team that specifically worked on this key progress measure. So appreciate their work greatly. So this key progress measure was in response to data and feedback that we had received in the previous year regarding student discipline. We certainly know that across the nation there was this impact from COVID that was felt in schools. And so this key progress measure was to develop, communicate, and implement a behavior framework for Belton ISD. And so this team gathered a cross-functional team of staff members, really poured into the survey data, the focus group data, really looked at our student discipline data, and have developed a framework for Belton ISD that has some core areas to it. It's around prevention, the prevention of discipline. It's around intervention, should there be discipline issues in a classroom or in a school. Also around the discipline itself, and I'll talk a little bit about some details in that, as well as around social emotional learning. So really tried to look at behavior from a variety of lenses. Within each of those lenses, they articulated then what are our beliefs around that, what are the key components, and what are some key resources. They developed a website, information on our website that's both public-facing, but then there's also one for staff in the staff portal that adds some additional resources for our teachers. They also implemented some professional learning in February. That professional learning grew this summer in summer offerings, and then in August will be a required professional learning for all teachers when they return back for the school year around the preventative piece of that model. They, going into this next year, they also developed, and we mentioned, I think in a workshop one time, they worked on developing consistency guidelines. That piece fits in the behavior piece of that framework. What that did is allow us to look at what are the offenses that we're seeing in schools and what are the consequences that are happening, and really working to calibrate that, ensuring we're defining that consistently. And an example would be if a student had a misbehavior, if at one school it warrants a conversation, but at another school it warrants a conversation and out-of-school suspension, then we have some misalignment in our system. And so those consistency guidelines were designed to try to do that very thing, bring some consistency, knowing that still, having been an assistant principal and principal, not every discipline situation is exactly the same, but if it meets certain elements, we wanted to bring some consistency to our approach. They also implemented this year taking data and looking at that with our administrators to look at offenses versus the consequence, just to see, are we calibrating? Are those consistency guidelines improving our situation? That work continued into the summer, and we got feedback and have tweaked some of those consistency guidelines, and that work will continue into the new year. What I will say, if you remember with Journey of a Graduate, the development of the Journey of a Graduate was just the beginning. We said the hard work began after that was developed. The same as with our behavior framework. While there have been things implemented, we'll continue to do so with Fidelity this year and monitor and evaluate. Continue to do listening sessions. Dr. Smith and I and some cabinet members go to every single campus to get feedback, as well as we do surveys, so that we will continuously monitor and ensure that we're getting better, and then adding professional learning as we see that that's needed throughout the year. So that's goal 4. Nope, I'm sorry.
Oops, went too far. And of course, for Goal 5, refining the budget and staffing processes. So HR and the business office have been tightly linked in these processes. Todd's going to speak a little bit about the staffing itself and the number of FTEs that we looked for efficiencies. But what kind of also goes hand in hand with that is the business office has done some extensive budget to actual analysis in the previous school year based on how we budgeted those positions and then where our actual payroll expenditures hit. And then for the current year, although we haven't completed the year yet, we can't quite do that type of analysis, we compared the positions that were budgeted for the 22-23 school year, and then compared that to the actual positions that are actually being paid through payroll. And between those 2 years, over the past 2 years, we can comfortably say we've got about a $4 million vacancy factor, which equates to about 2.8% of our total budget. So we're continuing to watch those patterns and see where those positions are vacant the most. Typically, it's going to be in your Function 11 and your 31s. And then, of course, HR and the business office, prior to the salary planning and planning for next year's budget, both shops reconciled the employee management to make sure the data was good before we even started running any type of scenarios or adding any additional FTEs. And so that's one of the processes that both shops are involved in that process. And of course, now we're starting to dig into those subscription renewals, and I am currently trying to put all of those into one location, so we'll have the ability to inventory those, and then technology can also check the utilization and then be able to look for efficiencies in those and cost savings going forward. And then Todd will speak to you a little bit about staffing.
So with the refinement on the staffing guidelines, we had a committee that came together and we met every other week for a couple hours each one of those meetings, and looked at, studied our staffing guidelines. We looked at some research, we analyzed other districts, we got feedback and input from our leaders about our current staffing guidelines and what our needs are within our system regarding staffing. And so based on that refinement of staffing, we've saved about over $3 million with positions through attrition. So we are looking to continue to, it's a fluid document, and so we're looking to continue to assess and reevaluate staffing from year to year, and continue to refine our guidelines over the next several years.
So you had in your packet, this final sheet is just to show that we have met our key progress measures, with the exception within Goal 2. Some of the House Bill 3 are still in progress due to the unavailable of data as of today, but we'll be bringing you more data as that data comes in. And so with that, wanted to open up to see if you had any questions for our team.
Trustees, questions? No one? No comments? Chris?
Good, yeah. I think it's important to recognize, I mean, not just for this group, but I think for the community, just because something's marked here as complete doesn't mean it's the end, right? I mean, it's the beginning of the journey and the next step of the journey. I mean, I think Suzanne did a great job earlier in the meeting sort of summarizing what Goal 1 is all about. And, you know, from a parent, you know, and when we look at what you showed here, right, we know that involving our parents and involving our communities leads to better experience and better outcomes for our students, right? So you know, these two things here, you know, what we accomplished this year, you know, is just the beginning, right? That'll continue to be the launch pad, right? For Goal 2, you know, the first slide that we looked at around, you know, education around Algebra 1 instruction and English and language arts and reading instruction. Like, we know those are the two areas that we're most challenged from an educational, from an achievement standpoint, right? And so the investment in the training for those teachers is like really what we need to put, you know, that's like additional gas in the engine, right? To really make sure that we are investing to make the changes and make the improvement, the continuous improvement, right, that we need to do to get to the next level. You know, the back half of the Goal 2, right, was about CCMR. And, you know, we were looking at some data in our workshop before we came in here, and we looked at our CCMR data kind of from 2018 to through what we think it's going to be when the final data comes out. And I got to tell you, like, I was struck, really positively struck, by the achievement over the last 5 years of CCMR. I mean, it was something like a 65% increase in that number at the state level. That's amazing, right? There's amazing work that's going on to move some of these numbers. And so, you know, again, really important, right? But just the beginning, right, of kind of where this goes. What else here? On the student behavior framework, right? This is just the beginning, right? I think you hit this, right? This is a really challenging spot. And not only is this important for our students, but it's important for our staff. For our staff to know that the framework exists and feel supported in that framework, and there's a level of consistency. I'm wondering, this is maybe more of a rhetorical question, right? But is there an opportunity to do any kind of communication around this to the parent population, right? Especially, you know, if things might look different in any areas kind of going into the school year. We still got a little bit of runway, not much. Feels like summer's over, but we're almost there, right? So do we need to communicate anything, right, related to this?
Chris, are you talking in terms of discipline?
Behavior framework, right? Yeah. I mean, do we have a limited window? But, you know, if expectations are going to change on campus between now and the time school starts, this is it. Like, we're almost out of runway. So I don't know if we need to communicate anything, but if there is, we probably should do it, right?
Absolutely. We've been talking about that. There's also within that framework some work around mental health support and community resources around that. So absolutely need to communicate and draw attention to that on our website. Yeah.
And then on the Goal 5 piece of it, I mean, this is about making the most of every dollar we have. And I think there's a legislative update later on here, right? But it's sort of in the legislative environment, we're in a really tough spot, right, from a budgeting standpoint. And so, you know, continuing to, you know, I know it says complete, but we are far from complete as far as, you know, making sure that we're in the best position we can be over the long term. And so, you know, there's mountains that have been moved here, you know, and those mountains will continue to be moved. And I think everybody, you know, I think this group understands, but I think for the public to really understand kind of what that means is really important. So thank you for the updates in all these areas.
Well, and we appreciate our board for adopting our goals, that these are aspirational goals. The goals have not changed in the last couple of years, which has allowed us to continue to dive deeper and deeper and really live out that value of continuous improvement. So absolutely, when we say something is complete, we're talking about some of the initial work around the key progress measure, but the work around each goal is absolutely continuing, and we'll be back next month with a recommendation information on new key progress measures underneath each of those goals.
I want to make sure I thank Melinda and our executive team, our cabinet members, and our principals for doing great work. There's a lot of, as Chris said, there's been a lot of big lifting that's gone on. I want to point out that and I think this is a testament to the group that we have, in February when we reported to you on Goal 4, we were still in progress. Our target was February, we were still in progress, and we didn't hit that on-time target, but we kept plugging away, and we feel good about where we are now entering the next school year in the professional learning that is going to happen for our teachers in every campus and every classroom across our district now. And so that work that's going on by our administrative team and our leaders throughout the system, that's just one example of we're gonna shoot for the stars. We're gonna keep pushing. We believe this is high leverage work under each goal. We set these targets annually to try and achieve them. And they've done a lot of really good work this year, and we're really proud of the things that have come to fruition for us. So we look forward to bringing you the recommended key progress measures for the upcoming school year at next month's meeting. And again, want to thank our administrative leaders because they did good work this year.
Dr. Golden, I do have one question. When we bring these things back up next month, or is it next month, Matt, that we're planning on?
The new ones would be presented next month.
Right. With this behavioral network piece, is that something that's going to be included in that discussion?
The behavior framework, as we're drafting the new KPMs, key progress measures for next year, there's not one specific to the behavior framework, but the work around the behavior framework will be in our district improvement plan because we'll be continuing that work.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? All right, superintendent's report. Dr. Smith?
Trustees, I wanted to take the opportunity this month to be able to talk a little bit about a portion of our strategic plan that I don't get an opportunity to talk about a lot, and that is specifically about our facilities. And you know, as we got together over a couple of years, we pulled a group of people together and we talked about the types of facilities that our board wanted to see, that our community wanted to see. And in our strategic plan, it outlines that. You can see a couple of things in there where it talks about creating a safe learning environment, ensuring that we have the spaces to actually address mastery of content and to address those competencies that you adopted with the journey of a graduate. The learning experience for kids should be not only what they learn regarding reading, writing, and math, but the skills that they develop in collaboration and critical thinking, and also in perseverance along the way as examples. So our spaces and our designs for our facilities matter in all of that, and we believe that wholeheartedly. We also note that we want to make sure that students are ready to live in a world that is different and is rapidly changing, so that the learning experience models what they might experience in the workplace, and that we have flexibility in our spaces to constantly change. A building that we build now should be able to be used 30 years from now in a flexible manner to prepare kids for the future and the future jobs that they're going to have. And then finally, the facilities are maximizing our dollars and ensuring that we're using practices that promote sound stewardship of our facilities. Our board said that loud and clear in the design of our new elementary schools, and they said very clearly, it was Mr. Taggart that I heard often about this, hey, we don't need a Taj Mahal, we want really functional space. And so what did we do to get that functional space? We brought teachers to the table and said, what do you need to create the best learning experiences for kids? We brought kids to the table and said, what do you need to have the best learning environment possible? And so these things that you see and that we talk about in our strategic plan and that we've laid out in front of us are coming to fruition. And it's really exciting. What you see in front of you right there is the floor plan or the layout of Burrell Elementary School, again, designed with architects, by teachers and students and staff members in Belton ISD and community members that dedicated time and space to do that. There are specific safety features that are built into this floor plan and design to make sure that we continue to increase and improve student safety. There's collaborative space that's included in all of this. There's space that allows students to actually utilize outdoor learning space in ways that they've never done before. And these things are starting to come to life. You can see Burrell Elementary School from a bird's eye view, and it looks just like that floor plan that you just looked at on the previous slide, and you see the outside of it really coming along. We're excited to open that up for our community mid-year this year, and have already had teachers in the school taking a look at it as it is beginning to be built. We also have Hubbard Branch Elementary School that is seeing significant progress. And for some of you that haven't been out there since our groundbreaking, you need to drive by Hubbard Branch because you'll be amazed at some of the things that are happening out there. We look forward to opening that up in August of 2024. And then you see some other items that are coming to fruition as well that most people don't see when they're driving by. But our Beck's Courtyard and some usable space, that's turf that's actually laid down there now, so it's not a mud hole anymore. You see High Point's Playground that now has a sidewalk and fall protection there that is accessible for every student in our school district. So students that might be mobility challenged and might be in a wheelchair or some other device have the ability to interact and play with their peers in the playscapes that we actually have in our elementary schools now. So these things are coming to life across our school district. These are the future forward facilities that promote those learning experiences that we want for our students, and we're excited to see them come to fruition. We can't wait to show them off to y'all in the future. And I want to give a special shout out to Mike Morgan, to David Bennett, and to Steve Barry, who are leading the majority of this work in our school district right now. There are a lot of projects going on. I didn't mention Southwest Elementary and Lake Belton Middle School and Belton High School and all the safety and security vestibule planning and things that are going on and all of the different items that are actually happening right now. We're thankful for the support of our taxpayers. We're using these funds well, and we will continue to use these funds well to make sure that the facilities our students have promote the learning experience that our community wants. Thank you all for allowing me to talk about facilities tonight. I don't get a chance to very often, and it's exciting to see it coming to life.
Open it for discussion. Any comments, questions? Dr. Smith, matters report? All right, let's move on to the next governance report.
Trustees, this is an item on here, and there are two items to talk about. First is an item to be able to allow trustees to share out their summer learning experiences. Many of you have been involved in learning that's happening over the summer. We typically give trustees the opportunity to talk about that learning and some things that really stood out to you. A lot of our public does not know the amount of time that our trustees have to spend and do spend willingly involved in continuous learning about how to ensure our school district is doing the best we possibly can for our kids. So the first item is a little bit of an update from you all on learning that's taken place this summer and anything you'd like to highlight.
Okay. So, I've been attending these SLIs for quite some time, and, when you get the agenda of items and you pick out the things of interest to you based on your whatever your background is, whatever your thoughts are. It's always fun to go into these things thinking, I wonder if we're doing that. And then we come back here and you go, we're doing that. So one of the sessions that I attended was by Moke Casey. I'm probably saying it wrong, but it ties in very appropriately with our superintendent's report. They talked about, the title was called Not Uniform But Unified, and it talked about improving schools from inside out, requiring clarity of focus and a unified team that meets the demands of an ever-changing educational and sometimes political environment. The essential roles of a unified or a unified system is you need to be organic, strategic, tactical, and operational. All those things that you just outlined, laid out there for us. I think that's awesome. I've got some handouts, happy to share that so it can be copied, that's got some more in-depth information, but we're already doing those things, and those are super cool. The other thing besides learning, we are inspired. It's an opportunity to renew and refresh and talk to other like-minded individuals, sometimes to the point of humor. You meet people that have some situations that you're like, whoo, thank goodness that's not in Belton. But you also get inspired by the keynotes. One of the keynotes that inspired me was Chris Baschinelli. He goes by Bash. He's a world traveler who goes all around the world just putting himself in other people's shoes. He hosts a television series called Bridge the Gap. It's a series on PBS. And he gave us some inspirational words throughout his talk. And I wrote down just a couple, like leaving space for grace. And I have used that probably every day since I've left that conference, depending on who I'm talking to and what I'm talking about. He talked about when you're listening to someone, to listen to their story and then ask them to continue, because you want to get the whole story and you want to listen, not just, I'll be thinking in your head, I'll be glad when they're done. So, like Suzanne keeps talking about this SLI, can we continue to finish this meeting? Listen to the rest of the story. And then these are a couple of more things. Discover our in, discover our commonalities. Rucker, you and I just met, but we're going to discover our commonalities. We're going to discover what makes us us, right? That's how we operate as a board. I believe throughout the years of working with each one of you all, we have discovered our commonalities, and we have absolutely benefited from that information. So I'm really excited about that. And then the last little thing is just true leadership inspires. So I think that board, by the education opportunities that are before us, and the fact that we reach out and we grab a hold of those and we continue our education. And there are some minimum requirements as far as what's required as a board, but each and every one of us go above and beyond that every single year. And I really appreciate that, because I think that speaks well for us to the community, because not only are we here sitting on this board, we're willing to learn as well. So I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, that was great. Anyone else attend SLI that want to talk about something that they learned about? Chris?
Yeah. I was in the classroom for 13 and a half hours. So if anybody wants to know any idea, what kind of effort does it take, right? So I actually spent my whole first day in new board officers training. And, that is basically open to new officers, not new board members, right? Because you're typically not an officer as a new board member, but new board officers throughout the state. And I will say the biggest thing I came away with is how special this group is. I'm not sure that I took away, a specific skill, right, or a specific tidbit of knowledge. There was maybe some refinement and some finer points that I got out of it. But overall, I came away from that with an appreciation for each and every one of you, and especially our former officers, right? So Suzanne and Jeff and Manuel, right, in a couple different capacities, of what that really means and how well you have prepared the rest of us, right, to kind of do what we do. Because I went into that session, honestly, there's probably parts of it that I could have taught and the rest of this room could have taught. Because I think we do such a great job sort of preparing each other. And so, again, I'm not sure I learned a whole lot other than we need to continue doing what we're doing, right? Because I think we're doing something right to prepare this group, right, for the leadership strategy that we have. A keynote, right? You talked about the keynotes. We went to a keynote from Michelle Gay from Safe and Sound Schools. And I'm not going to get into it because I'll probably lose it if I get into all the details. But, she was a mom of a kindergartner at Sandy Hook. We didn't get into the nitty-gritty necessarily, but, we kind of walked, I'm getting goosebumps even talking about it. But we kind of walked through what did that day look like? And what do the minutes and hours after look like? And what is her mission at Safe and Sound Schools and her partnership with the Texas School Safety Center look like, and how we are all first responders in an emergency. All of us, right? It's the folks on the classroom, it's the parents, it's the community, like the importance that we as a community are all part of the response to whatever the need is, right? So I'm not going to go any further into that one because, like I said, I'll probably lose it. Let's see. I'll talk about maybe two others. So I think Dr. Smith and I went to a session with HEB ISD, not the grocery store, right? On how they make their secret sauce, right? I mean, I think that is a high functioning, really solid board, right? And I wanted to figure out what are they doing that we're not doing, right? And so it was really a presentation on, kind of their top 10 things that that they're doing. And I left that with, hey, we're doing some of those things, right? We weren't doing all of those things, but we're doing some of those things. I think we've already brought back one of the things that they're doing. Matt's got a list up here of community events. And we're going to try to kind of track and be a little bit more intentional about how this group, I'll say attacks, maybe attack isn't the right word, experiences, what's going on in the community, right? And so we're already starting to kind of incorporate some of the things that we learned from that session where we think it's appropriate for us. And so that was, I think that was a great session. And then the last one I'll talk about, we also went to a session on the bottom line on financial updates, right? And so it's, as a board member and for boards, what should we be looking at when it comes to the financial updates and financial planning and things like that. So again, I won't go into the details, but I think we both came away with a list of several things that we'll be looking at. Sorry, Melissa. But I think there was a lot of good sort of nuggets in there of ways that we can maybe think about or maybe shift a little bit in the way we look and think about some of these things for the future. So, and again, it was about the connections too. I did make a good lunch connection with a trustee from Belton ISD, accidentally, who happens to be on the board for Ralph Wilson. And so there was a great sort of shared connection there and talking about what's going on, in this particular area. And I think we shared some interesting ideas that maybe will come down the road. So yeah, but great experience. I always love getting to go.
And you'll have one more thing. The other thing I wanted to point out about these educational opportunities, this happens twice a year, and so June and September. And in this past June, there are over 7,000 board members in the state of Texas, and at SLI, I was told there was over 2,300 board members. So that's pretty exciting.
Gosh, thank you for those reports. Any? I can't add anything on that. Yeah, it's hard. You can't top that stuff, right? Well, and then we're all going to attend I think we're all scheduled to attend in September.
Correct.
All right.
Rucker, anything that you wanted to add?
Thank you for those reports. They're very, very informative. Legislative updates.
Next part, I want to make sure that we had the board have the opportunity to discuss any legislative updates that you all have, any questions that you have. As you know, we continue to meet with our locally elected officials, spent time with one of them extensively today. As you know, the special sessions are done for right now. We anticipate another special session coming up in the near future, probably around October time. And obviously, some of the things that we visited about today were things that we've talked about and that are priorities for our Board of Trustees on your legislative priorities. We talked very specifically today about accountability system reform, and you all talked about that in your workshop tonight. We talked very specifically about school funding and an increase to the basic allotment, and that was talked about very specifically today. And we talked about ESAs or vouchers that were brought up and that continue to be talked about, and also that was on your legislative priorities, is to make sure that they knew our position on that as well. We continue to advocate for what is best for Belton ISD as a community, as a school district, and for the individual students that we serve and the staff members that we employ to serve for our students. And we will continue to do so based on those legislative priorities that you adopted. So I wanted to thank our board for adopting those. Wanted you to know that despite the fact that they're not in the pink building in Austin right now with all the meetings, but they do anticipate coming back, and we're still hopeful that some movement will be made. But as of right now, nothing was done regarding the basic allotment for schools. Nothing was done regarding accountability changes for schools, and we got continued work to do on that.
Matt, are teacher pay raises, are they tossing that out? Or is that still potentially going to be on the agenda?
It's still potentially going to be on the agenda. The discussion around school funding and an increase to the basic allotment is the way that I think a lot of people are leaning at this time, because it gives Similar to what happened with House Bill 3, the school districts, an influx of money according to the basic allotment with some parameters about how to spend that money, and that's specifically on raises, and that's what happened with House Bill 3 a while ago. There is potential for that to happen, but as of right now, that is still, the word potential is the important piece. There is nothing solidified, and we have a House and we have a Senate and we have a governor, and they all have to be on the same page for legislation to pass. And say there's some really important points that they're going to have to negotiate in special sessions coming up if we're to see some of those increases in the basic allotment and the accountability changes, et cetera.
It sounds like there's still hope.
There's still hope and still a lot of work to do.
Right, okay. All right, next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Does anyone wish to pull an item for discussion? No? All right, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented? Rucker? Yep, you have a second? All right, Jeff? All in favor? That passes 5-0. All right, moving on to item 7. Board members, at this time, are there any requests for new information reports from the administrative team? No takers. All right. As Chris was saying earlier, there's a calendar that was passed around that has all the things that are coming up here in the, I guess all the way through August, the latter part of August. Has everyone seen this? You can check and see when you're available. And then I think the other thing is, if we're going to continue this, that's going to be part of our packets on Fridays, right? Where you can actually look at your calendar, and when you come in on the meeting on Monday, you can actually know when you're available, all right? So it gives you an opportunity to look at your calendar over the weekend, so you don't have to try to figure that out while we're sitting here. All right.
What I will say, trustees, on these is the items that we have here are not all of the items happening in the school district. These are ones that as an administrative team, we said that we would like board presence at. And so some of those are in-district opportunities and events that we have going on. Some of them are other community events that are going on where we would like some board representation. So please know that this list is not indicative. You don't have all of the athletic events on this list because those are optional for everybody. These are ones that we are saying as a administrative team, we would like to have Belton ISD present at if you're available. And by you signing up, you have the ability to tell us, hey, we've got this one covered, I'll be there, and you'll communicate with us if you're not.
All right. We'll now proceed to public comments regarding non-agenda items. Becca, no one? Okay. We will now go into closed session. The time is 7:22 p.m. Consultation with attorney, Texas Government Code Section 551.071. Personnel, Texas Government Code Section 551.074. Personnel matters, formative evaluation of the superintendent, and deliberations about real property, Texas Government Code Section 551.072. Okay, the time is now 8:31 PM, and the board will now reconvene in open session. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned at 8:31.